Hi everyone. Today we are going to talk about top 10 things you need to know about yourself. 1. Your perspective on yourself is distorted. Your self lies before you like an open book. Just peer inside and read who you are, your likes and dislikes, your hopes and fears. They are all there, ready to be understood. This notion is popular, but is probably completely false. Psychological research shows that we do not have privileged access to who we are. When we try to assess ourselves accurately, we are really poking around in a fog. Princeton University psychologist Emily Pronin, who specializes in human self-perception and decision-making, calls the mistaken belief in privileged access the introspection illusion. The way we view ourselves is distorted, but we do not realize it. As a result, our self-image has surprisingly little to do with our actions. 2. Your motives are often a complete mystery to you. How well do people know themselves? In answering this question, researchers encounter the following problem. To assess a person's self-image, one would have to know who that person really is. Investigators use a variety of techniques to tackle such questions. For example, they compare the self-assessments of test subjects with the subject's behavior in laboratory situations or in everyday life. They may ask other people, such as relatives or friends, to assess subjects as well. And they probe unconscious inclinations using special methods. To measure unconscious inclinations, psychologists can apply a method known as the implicit association test, IAT, developed in the 1990s by Anthony Greenwald of the University of Washington and his colleagues to uncover hidden attitudes. 3. Outward appearances tell people a lot about you. Much research indicates that our nearest and dearest often see us better than we see ourselves. As psychologist Simon Vazir of the University of California, Davis has shown, 2 conditions in particular may enable others to recognize who we really are most readily. First, when they are able to read a trait from outward characteristics, and second, when a trait has a clear positive or negative valence. Intelligence and creativity are obviously desirable. For instance, dishonesty and egocentricity are not. 4. Gaining some distance can help you know yourself better. Keeping a diary, pausing for self-reflection, and having probing conversations with others have a long tradition. But whether these methods enable us to know ourselves is hard to tell. In fact, sometimes doing the opposite, such as letting go, is more helpful because it provides some distance. In 2013, Erica Carlson, now at the University of Toronto, reviewed the literature on whether and how mindfulness meditation improves one's self-knowledge. It helps, she noted, by overcoming 2 big hurdles: distorted thinking and ego protection. 5. We too often think we are better at something than we are. Are you familiar with the Dunning-Krueger effect? It holds that the more incompetent people are, the less they are aware of their incompetence. The effect is named after David Dunning of the University of Michigan and Justin Krueger of New York University. Dunning and Krueger gave their test subjects a series of cognitive tasks and asked them to estimate how well they did. At best, 25% of the participants viewed their performance more or less realistically. Only some people underestimated themselves. 6. People who tear themselves down experience setbacks more frequently. Although most of our contemporaries harbor excessively positive views of their honesty or intelligence, some people suffer from the opposite distortion. They belittle themselves and their efforts. Experiencing contempt and belittlement in childhood, often associated with violence and abuse, can trigger this kind of negativity, which in turn can limit what people can accomplish, leading to distrust, despair, and even suicidal thoughts. It might seem logical to think that people with a negative self-image would be just the ones who would want to overcompensate. Yet, as psychologists working with William Swan of the University of Texas at Austin discovered, many individuals racked with self-doubt seek confirmation of their distorted self-perception. Swan described this phenomenon in a study on contentment in marriage. 7. You deceive yourself without realizing it. According to one influential theory, our tendency for self-deception stems from our desire to impress others. To appear convincing, we ourselves must be convinced of our capabilities and truthfulness. Supporting this theory is the observation that successful manipulators are often quite full of themselves. Good salespeople, for example, exude an enthusiasm that is contagious. Conversely, those who doubt themselves generally are not good at sweet-talking. Lab research is supportive as well. In one study, participants were offered money if, in an interview, they could convincingly claim to have aced an IQ test. The more effort the candidates put into their performance, the more they themselves came to believe that they had a high IQ, even though their actual scores were more or less average. 8. The true self is good for you. Most people believe that they have a solid essential core, a true self. Who they truly are is evinced primarily in their moral values and is relatively stable. Other preferences may change, but the true self remains the same. Rebecca Schlegel and Joshua Hicks, both at Texas A&M University, and their colleagues have examined how people's view of their true self affects their satisfaction with themselves. The researchers asked test subjects to keep a diary about their everyday life. The participants turned out to feel most alienated from themselves when they had done something morally questionable. They felt especially unsure of who they actually were when they had been dishonest or selfish. 9. Insecure people tend to behave more morally. Insecurity is generally thought of as a drawback, but it is not entirely bad. People who feel insecure about whether they have some positive trait tend to try to prove that they do have it. Those who are unsure of their generosity, for example, are more likely to donate money to a good cause. This behavior can be elicited experimentally by giving subjects negative feedback. For instance, according to our tests, you are less helpful and cooperative than average. People dislike hearing such judgments and end up feeding the donation box. 10. If you think of yourself as flexible, you will do much better. People's own theories about who they are influence how they behave. One's self-image can therefore easily become a self-fulfilling prophecy. Carol Dweck of Stanford University has spent much time researching such effects. Her takeaway: if we view a characteristic as mutable, we are inclined to work on it more. On the other hand, if we view a trait, such as IQ or willpower, as largely unchangeable and inherent, we will do little to improve it. In Dweck's studies of students, men and women, parents and teachers, she gleaned a basic principle. People with a rigid sense of self take failure badly. They see it as evidence of their limitations and fear it. Fear of failure, meanwhile, can itself cause failure. What do you think about our video? Tell us in the comment section below. And if you have any questions or suggestions, then feel free to mention them in the comment section, and we will surely respond to your request. If you like this video, don't forget to press the like button and subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching.